Do you have any notes for this?
No, I don't.
No.
No, I forgot to include True Romance.
Oh, well, I have a final a swan fact, and then we'll move on to Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
So, the sunglasses that Christian Slater wears throughout the entire film, which are kind of, what would you call those? Like those, like
They're like the Elvis, yeah,
classic,
yeah,
almost aviators. They're actually make a cameo in Kill Bill Volume 1. I didn't realize this till more recently, but
Uma Thurman puts them on, right?
Yeah. Well, when she kills Bud.
Okay.
Or Buck, sorry, and when she first comes up out of the coma, those are the same glasses.
Okay.
So he has a bunch of Easter eggs hidden in his films and stuff. That's pretty cool. But let's move on to Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Miramax Films is proud to present one of the most celebrated motion pictures of the year. The winner of the 1994 Palme d'Or. The best picture of the Cannes Film Festival.
Come on, let's get in character. I'm so interested in Big Man's wife. Well, he's going out of town, Florida, and he asked me if I take care of her while he's gone. Take care of her? No, man. Just show her a good time, make sure she don't get lonely. Girl, you see, this is a moral test of oneself.
I do believe Marcellus, my husband, your boss, told you to take me out and do whatever I wanted.
Whether or not you can maintain loyalty.
The night of the fight, you may feel a slight sting. Pride only hurts. It never helps. In the fifth, your ass goes down.
I have to say, you play with matches, you get burned.
We should have shotguns for this kind of deal.
We're in a lot of danger, aren't we?
I'm prepared to scour the earth for that night.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Get down, get down. You got a corpse in a car, minus the head in the garage. Take me to it.
Don't you hate that?
Hey, what?
Uncomfortable silences.
John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Maria de Medeiros, Bing Rames, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Willis.
Looking something for you, my friend Luca.
Die, you mother!
A new film directed by Quentin Tarantino. Pulp Fiction.
You really thinking about quitting?
Most definitely.
Of course you're gonna do that.
Basically, I'm just gonna walk the earth.
What you mean walk the earth?
You know, like Kane in Kung Fu.
All right. So that was the official Pulp Fiction trailer. That movie was released in '94. It clocks in at 2 hours and 58 minutes, and it has a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think about this film, man?
Well, for starters, I'm gonna pull the age card on you because I know that you weren't old enough to really understand like when this movie came out and everything.
I did see it because my grandparents are weird and they let me watch it.
When you were that young?
Yes.
That's a fucked up movie to be watching when you're that young.
Yeah,
But because I'm almost 10 years older than you, I can't tell you just how different this movie was when it came out because there was nothing like it before. It was crazy, and like just the dialogue, the way that it's structured, a lot of the crazy stuff that happens, like the heroin overdose, the GIMP stuff and everything. Nobody ever had seen anything like this ever. Like, all in one movie, all on the screen at the same time. And, like, this was, like, a huge game-changing movie for 90s movies, independent cinema, a director's movie. It was, I would compare it to, like, some of the movies from, like, the late 60s and everything that were changing everything, like changing the studio system and everything, like Bonnie and Clyde or like Easy Rider and all of that, because it was just so different from everything else that was out before it. And kind of a lot of movies that have come out since are influenced by this. So being of that age in my teenage years when the movie came out, this was crazy. And like, I know that there was a lot of people at the time, I mean, my parents for starters, like, hated it when they saw it, just because it was too out there for them.
Yeah, I remember you told me that your parents did not or don't like this film or didn't like it.
They hate Pulp Fiction. They love the Kill Bill movies and pretty much anything since that, but they hated Pulp Fiction. And I remember, because they hated it so much, was like why I wanted to see it so badly, and I did.
What would you like? What do you think about like people? I guess I feel like there's a lot of controversy around this, that there's no real like silver lining, or none of the characters are really good characters, and there's no real resolve. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, those people don't know what they're talking about. You don't have to have characters get redeemed at the end of every movie. Not every character has to be a good person. Are they interesting characters? Yes. Is there an interesting story based around these interesting characters? Yes. That's what makes the movie great. That's what makes any story great. There's the characters. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be bad. Are they interesting? Are they well drawn out? And every single character in this movie is well drawn out. Or well fleshed out.
What do you like? While we're on this topic, because they do drop the N-bomb in this movie rather, repeatedly. What's your stance on that, as far as Tarantino and his use of language and I guess
just language, or like racial epithets and everything?
I would say like the racial stuff.
Well, for starters, it's a movie and these are characters.
Yeah.
Anyone that writes any kind of fiction, whether it's a film, whether it's a book, these are characters. So you're creating characters. You watch a lot of other movies, everyone else says this or that. So I'm not gonna knock them for saying it. There's plenty of movies where Tarantino movies where I'm watching, I'm like, oh, that's it's a little much, but at the same time, these are characters. So it doesn't bother me.
Like, would you say that, for Pulp Fiction, since we're on this topic,
Okay.
Do you think that those are justified, or does it feel like overkill? For, like, in my opinion, I think for these, because they're in the 90s and they very much feel like 90s films, like Reservoir Dogs as well, it didn't bother me so much, because I feel like these, like you're saying, these characters aren't necessarily good people.
Yeah.
And they've been around probably for a while and have gone through bad things and have, like, these kind of they're probably small-minded, some of them, like the Reservoir Dogs people. So in that way, I feel like he's just writing from a different point of view, and that's what people, I feel like they can't differentiate that it's not what he feels personally, or he's not taking, yeah,
exactly. You write a character. The character isn't a reflection of you per se. Most of the times, it's someone else that you're creating completely. And yes, I agree with you. Maybe these people are like closed-minded. I think that the character that Tarantino plays, Jimmy, he drops it a couple times. I think he's one of those guys that's like, oh, it's cool, my wife's black. It's cool if I use it. And it's really not.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing because when I first saw it when I was a little younger, I had seen it a few times, and I didn't really grasp that his wife was black for a while. And then when I watched it when I got older and I realized all these stories and when they came together more, I was like, oh shit, and he's dropping the N-bomb like it's nothing. So yeah, I do agree with you that he's probably written this character to be like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, and it has a lot of layers.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, and there's people that will say, oh, you know, like Tarantino's racist and whatever, just because he drops it, or you know, it's said by some of the characters in the movie. But I don't think that's true at all. I think it's just these are the characters.
But okay, to refute that, like these people, like why? Okay, so why does he get Sam Jackson on almost every project, or why is he like friends with RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan and he's always like rocking their gear and stuff? It doesn't make sense that all these people are just like, oh, it's cool, you know, you're racist, it's cool. It doesn't. You see what I'm saying? They're seeing the bigger picture.
No, and I don't think he's running around in his real life, dropping the N-bomb at any point in time. This is fiction, for lack of a better term. So these are characters. This is the language that they use. I don't think that makes the person that wrote it to be a bad person, to be racist. Especially
when, because I feel like he's. I don't know if they're necessarily shutting their mouths on these later films, but as he's progressed, he's doing. I feel like a lot of like revenge films or kind of letting people get kind of redemption, and that's like the biggest mouth closer ever, you know, at least in my opinion. Like for Django, even though I feel like people still have their problems with Django, particularly Spike Lee, I think I saw what he was doing, and you know, I don't know.
And at the same time, you have to remember that in the time and the place that these movies occurred, you know, in the South in that time, I think Django was it pre-Civil War?
Yeah, I believe.
Well, that's how people talked and everything. It's sad, but that's how people talked, and I think if you're trying to capture a time and a place, it would almost seem out of place if you weren't trying to go with like the vernacular of the time.
Yeah, like a sugarcoating, which could almost look worse.
Yeah,
in many ways.
But you know, I can't speak from a different perspective. I'm just speaking from, you know what, I think that these are characters, and this is how people talked at a certain point in time, or these characters are shitty people who probably have, you know, some racism issues. But I don't think that makes the person that wrote these characters to be racist.
Cool. Sorry to drop that bomb on you.
Get serious.
Yeah. I feel like it's a necessary thing if we're going to be talking about him.
No, I get it.
Yeah. Okay, so some swan facts for Pulp Fiction. Uma Thurman originally shot down the role of Mia, but then changed her mind later. When Quentin basically he called her up on the phone and read her bits over the phone and basically convinced her to take the role. The famous dance scene in Jack Rabbit Slims was actually mimicked basically step by step from a Fellini movie from 1963 called 8.5.
8.5, yeah.
Oh, this was one of the first films to use the internet for advertising.
That was